Ciao amici e benvenuti nella Peso sulla Luna. Hello friends. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you probably guessed from my attempt at an Italian intro to this video that this is my series in which I use Terre de Marseille adjacent antique Italian decks, or now antique Italian deck adjacent decks to help me get a clarified, distilled message from my larger spread of the week. And if you've been following along, you know that I am in the middle of my deep dive into the Lenormand system. So I've already done a Lenormand spread for the week, a 9-card spread. And this spread here is to help us get a central message. Perhaps a distilled message, or perhaps another layer of information to that spread. And because this is a reaction spread, I highly recommend that you go on over and watch that spread first and then come back here. Yeah, so that you understand why I'm reading these cards and the way I'm reading these cards. That will be influenced by the spread I read earlier this week. Yes? So, friends, I'll put a card up here for you to click on and hop on over and watch that spread and come on back. I think the title of that spread, of that video, was Childlike Wonder. Yeah? And just in case you have seen that spread and you are coming back, but you're trying to remember what it was that that spread was about, it was about our, I think our growth of reputation, or our growth of perhaps even our heart business, perhaps a growth of success within our social circles, within our networking, whether they're more for fun or for work. Yes? And that being a source of positive stuff, of stability, and our feeling stable, and our feeling grounded, and our feeling at home at our own space, and the success, and yes, that's leading us to, if we can remain open to something new coming into our lives, which could lead to either a new commitment or to some long-term growth of that new thing. Yes, something new, something small that can grow, if we're ready to open ourselves to accept it, can lead to either a long-lasting commitment or can lead to a long-term growth of that small new thing. Does that make sense? So that's what I saw from that spread. So we've got a spread here already laid out. And before I show you that spread, I'd like to say thank you. I'd like to say thank you for all of the things that you do. I'd like to say thank you for hitting the thumbs up button, for subscribing. Those little actions you do help other people find us through YouTube's algorithm. Yes, and even commenting below. That helps YouTube know that you're engaged in the content, and it tells YouTube that, well, other people might be interested as well, and so our community grows. And so thank you for being the way for other people to find us and join us on this path. So thank you, yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. And at the end of the video, I will show you a QR code and the web address to my online tarot shop if you want to order a personal private reading from me. That's available as well. But right now, what we're about to do is a couple of things. First, I will show you the spread, and then we will talk about the decks I'm using and what kind of a spread it is. And then I'll show you the spread in its two major components, and we'll read those two major components together. Are you all ready? Friends, here we go. Here's this week's spread. Friends, if you've been with me on this channel for a while, you probably recognize these two decks already. Yes? Because I used them maybe 3 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. And I said that I would use this deck again, the Tarot deck again, because I had been disappointed that none of the major arcana came out for us in that spread. It was all the pips. And I wanted us to have an opportunity to see some of the major arcana. And so I used it again this week, and still no major arcana. We do have one card that can give you a little bit of a taste of how the rest of the major arcana might look. But I was sad that we didn't get a couple of major arcana cards out here as well, because they are really beautifully drawn. If you want me to do a deep dive into this deck, let me know in the comments below, or let me know in the community tab. If you want me to do a deck dive video on this deck, I could do that. Just let me know. So, the two decks you saw. The 4 cards at the top, and yes, there were 4 cards. They are from a deck called Tarocchi Giapponese. It's an Italian deck. It's by an Italian author and an Italian publishing house. And so there will be a link in the description box below to Amazon Italy, because I think you might have to order it from them, unless you've got another source of ordering Italian decks. Yes? But you can order Italian decks from other countries as well. You don't have to go to Italy. I recommend going to Italy if you can, but if you can't, you can order it from Amazon Italy wherever you live. So there will be a link down there. And it's a beautiful deck. It's big. It's a little difficult to shuffle. Even with my big ol' hands, it's a little challenging to riffle shuffle, but you can side shuffle it, right? Overhand is not a problem. And it's a lovely deck. I'm so happy that I have it in my library, and I'm happy to use it again. The 4 cards you saw below the tarot cards, they are from an oracle deck, which I've used and you have seen several times on this channel. And it is the I-ching Oracle, and there will be a link in the description box below if you want to go and get that deck. So, what is the spread? The tarot cards above, they are giving us the answer to the question, what is the central message of the last Lenormand Spread? Which you saw the question right before you saw the spread, before we started talking again. Yes? So you saw that already. And those 4 cards will tell us the answer to that. The 4 oracle cards below, I intentionally drew them to modify, to add information to each one of the tarot cards above. So we will read those oracle cards as they influence the tarot cards above them. So we'll read the tarot cards, and then as we look at the oracle cards, we'll be revisiting the tarot cards one by one by one. Does that make sense? I hope it does, because that's what we're going to do. So if you want to know what I meant, stick around, stay tuned, and you'll know. First, what I will do is I will show you the tarot cards, and we will start reading those together. Here they are. Friends, you just saw 4 cards. From left to right, we had the 2 of Swords, the Queen of Swords, the 8 of Swords, and the 9 of Cups. There be a lot of swords in this spread. Yeah, there are a lot of swords in this spread. This is a swordy deck. I'm sorry, a swordy spread. And I told you what the cards are from left to right, but we're going to read this spread from right to left. Why? If you know me, you know that I like to read Tarot de Marseille adjacent, Antique Italian decks, and this Antique Italian deck adjacent deck directionally, with the line of sight, the line of gaze. and I'm not talking the line of homosexual men, but rather the line of gaze, what the humans in the cards are gazing at, what they're looking at. And there's only one human in this spread, unfortunately. Like I said, I wish there were more with Major Arcana, but we've got the Queen of Swords, the Regina di Spade, Regina di Spade, and she's looking from right to left. So that's the direction we're going to be reading these cards in. And really, we, I think, are here to assume the mantle of the Queen of Spades, which we can all do, whether we are in male bodies, in female bodies, in intersex bodies, in cis bodies, in trans bodies, whatever we can be the Queen of Spades without getting into drag. Yeah, we can embody our inner Queen of Spades. Our inner Queen of Swords, Spade. So, I gotta say, of all of the court cards, really? Okay, so there are three that I really like. Four. Okay. So I like them all, but when I think of the court card the court cards that I'm the most drawn to, one is the Page of Cups in the Smith-Waite deck. Not so much in Terre de Marseille, in the Smith-Waite deck. But across the board, in all decks, the court card I'm the most drawn to is the Queen of Swords, which is weird because I've got a lot of water, I've got a lot of fire in my chart, I've got very little air. Yeah? And the Queen of Spades is air, right? Queen of Spades is often Libra, which is cardinal air, right? I'm not a cardinal air person. I'm not a very cardinal person. I'm more of a fixed mutable person than a cardinal person when I look at my chart. And so it's interesting that I'm drawn to the Queen. Maybe it's because that's what I need more of. Maybe I need more Queen of Spades characteristics in my life. Maybe that's why. But okay, so that's where we're starting. Who are we? So let's start there, yeah? Let's start there. We're going to start with who be we in this spread. We be this woman. The Queen of Spades is what? She is the queen of complexity. She's perceptive and she's clear-minded. She takes that sword and she cuts through all of the crap. Now, all of the clouds, all of the bullshit. She has a powerful intellect. There's a whole word in there somewhere. She has a powerful intellect of useful and effective ideas. Yeah, she's not the intellect of gazing into the unknown or leaping into the unknown. She's the one of cutting through the bullshit. She has powerfully clear, effective, useful ideas. Right? She can be stubborn. She can be defensive about her ideas, but they are useful and they are effective. She says what she wants to say. Of all of the court cards, she's the wittiest, I think. She's the most clever, the wittiest. Could border on the bitchy, but definitely the smartest. And she's open to new ideas, right? She defends her own ideas. She's open to new ideas. She says what she wants to say. And she's clever, and she's witty, and she's funny. But sharp funny. Yeah? Not goofy funny, she's sharp funny. She's razor edge funny, right? That's the kind of person I see as the Queen of Swords. If you think of musical theater, think Joanna in Company. Yeah, the one who sings, "Here's to the ladies who lunch." That kind of sharp, a little bit bordering on caustic wit. Now that's the Queen of Swords for me. So that's where we are that's who we are being, which is interesting because the larger spread that I got, I'm sorry, the Lenormand spread that we were looking at was more about being open, naivete, our innocent, childlike openness to wonder and the new, I think. But maybe it was that scythe. Maybe that scythe, in addition to being harvesting of stuff, maybe there's that clarity, that cutting through, not the cutting off of, but cutting through with the new thing to reveal the promise within. Maybe that's where we're going. Let's see. Let's see where we are going. So, the Queen, what does she have at her back? Where is she coming from? Let's start off with the Nine of Cups. So, she's coming from what? The Nine of Cups can go a couple of ways. And we'll see which direction the Nine of Cups goes in this spread. The nines for me are endings. So, the Nine of Cups would be emotional endings, like grief, ending of a relationship. Also solitude and loneliness. There's also the tradition of the Nine of Cups being wishes fulfilled, right? That kind of happiness of the Nine of Cups, but I tend not to read it in that direction very often. But there's also the element of coordination. People and parts working together in their proper place and accepting our role. If you imagine us being this red cup in the middle of this 9-card square, right? We've got a cups, this 9 of Cups card kind of looks like the Lenormand spread that we had, right? And that the central card in that Lenormand spread is us. It's the situation, it's now. So we find our place in this group, which I think is what that Lenormand spread was pointing towards. As the past moving into the present, right? Are finding our place in the group, finding our home in the group, and then discovering the new thing. So this is at our backs, and that makes sense, right? So I think that's where we're moving with this Nine of Cups card. It's the finding our place, emotional place within our group, within the group we are interacting with. And that group of people interacting well together, right? Coordinated interaction. Not tripping over each other and stumbling over each other and getting each other in each other's way, but rather a coordinated, not effort, but process of interaction. And that leads to what? This wonderful, wonderful Eight of Swords card with that tree at the bottom. We had this Eight of Swords, Ace of Swords. No, eight. Whoa. 8 of Swords. We had this 8 of Swords the last time this deck was used. Right? Beautiful card. You see that bonsai plant at the bottom, right? And this is what? It's clarity. It's expanded intelligence. Finding intuition. But we get ideas, we get concepts, but we don't identify with them. Right? It's not like I have this great idea and my self-worth is increased by this new idea, and so if you try and mess with this idea, this thought, you're messing with me. That's identifying with a thought, right? That's not this card. You don't identify with the thoughts, but you do find intuition, and you have powerful concentration. Like the powerful concentration it requires to create a bonsai tree over time. And it's a deeply meditative state of unity. And solutions to problems become obvious beyond reasoning. Yeah, from a place of non-thought, solutions and answers and ideas emerge. And we had a little bit of that in the Lenormand Spread as well. Right? So our Queen of Swords is coming from a foundation of finding our place in our group, which was mentioned in the Lenormand Spread, working together with other people. And just as the house card in the Lenormand Spread showed us finding our, or having our feeling of security and groundedness and stability, that idea is tweaked here by finding our intellectual, our mental, clarity, expanded mind. But also finding our intuition, which, remember, we had that idea, I hope I mentioned it, I was thinking it, of our intuition being more accessible when we are feeling grounded, when we are feeling at home, right? And so I think that aspect of the spread is being emphasized here. Yeah, our intuition, from a deeply meditative or a deeply felt sense of groundedness, solutions to problems, intuitive ideas, knowledge arises here. And that was indicated in the Lenormand Spread. And so we entered again. So that was what is at our backs. That is what we are moving from. And we're moving into, or we have our eyes upon. This is what the backs of this deck look like. Not very impressive, right? But there, if you look very carefully, I don't know if you can see it if I do this slowly, but there is a swirl pattern of red on red on the backs. Can you see that by the light glinting off of it at all? Probably not. Just take my word for it. I'm sorry, it's not a swirl pattern. It's a pattern of arches. What do I want to say? Okay, so it's like when you lay a pattern of discs over discs. So you see the curve of the disc peeking out of the discs on top of it, or above it, yes? And that's a very Japanese pattern. So it's that pattern, okay? Anyways, the Queen of Swords, she's looking at the Two of Swords. This is what's on our minds. What's on our minds is clarification, gathering information, developing our insights. So we get those insights from the Eight of Swords, and we want to develop them, right? We want to gather more information. Also, we want to continue daydreaming and imagining. This is also the card for preparation for a project. Not starting the project, but preparing for a project. Preparing, waiting for the action, but right now we're mentally preparing for it, right? And that part of that preparation can be clarification, doing research, gathering information. Also imagining and daydreaming how this project will unfold. This new thing, this new small thing which can grow. Remember the Lenormand Spread? This new small thing which can grow, and we can harvest and we can develop into a long-term commitment, a long-term growth, a long-term project even. So that's what the Queen of Swords has on her mind. That makes sense, yes? And it feels like it is very closely related to the Lenormand Spread we did just earlier this week. Yes? You see that? I hope so. So, now, I'm going to show you those i-ching cards once more, and we'll see how those cards are going to affect or color the cards above them. Okay, so friends, here are the i-ching oracle cards for you once more. Friends, you saw we had from left to right, we had number 27, the hexagram number 27, which is nourishment in this deck. Then we had hexagram 18, which is decay. And then we had hexagram 17, which is following. And then we had hexagram 13, which is concord. Now, of course, we're not reading them in this direction. We're going to read them from right to left. So we're going to start off with concord. Yes, and which is the most positive looking of the cards, even artistically. It's the sunniest, it's the brightest. Yes? And this card is concord, which is heaven over fire. And this is cooperation and harmony and unity and resonance, shared objectives. Large projects or progress favor forward movement. You move forward together. Partnerships help us here. Alliances help us face our obstacles. And we collaborate to overcome those obstacles. Which is interesting because that comes right beneath this card, the Nine of Cups, which I said I was leaning in towards coordination, finding our place in the group. So yes, we find our place in the group and we have good harmony, we have good companionship, we have good cooperation, we are united. Yes, together we can move on large projects and progress forward. We have favorable movement if we move together and we work together and we solve problems together. Yes, that makes sense? And then the next card is following. Yeah, and this is a beautiful card. Kind of makes me think of the Tower card in Tarot just a little bit. Do you see why I say that? Because of that rainbow-like lightning that's coming from the sky right near that house. This is lake over thunder. So this is what? This is going with the flow. Adapting to circumstances. Yeah? We want to avoid forceful actions, and we want to proceed with cooperative attitude. A cooperative attitude. A lot of this cooperation is being emphasized here, right? We want to be flexible and smooth, round around the edges. We want to smooth out our rough edges. We want to be smooth. We want to be round. We want to avoid becoming stiff. We want to keep flexible, and we want to cooperate with other people. Yes? So, our clarity, the answers to problems, the solutions that arise from a grounded mental state and strong concentration, our ideas of glowing with the flow, not sudden, sharp solutions of like putting up barricades or blocks or cutting through things. These are ideas that help us go with the flow, to adapt, to proceed cooperatively, flexibly, smoothing out our rough spots. Yes? So this is what's behind us as we look at ourselves as the Queen of Swords, and beneath her we have the card for decay, which sounds bad, but it's not so bad. It's a very disconcerting title, but number 18 is Mountain over Wind, which tells us that we need to rectify disorder. We want to correct and reorganize. We want to inspect things and perhaps change our methodology. And patience is key here. Things will take time. We want to face challenges with integrity and bravery, just like the Queen of Swords. That's what kind of person the Queen of Swords is, right? Really, it really is what the kind of person the Queen of Swords is in the world. She will correct and reorganize. She's clear. Her ideas, again, are powerful and useful and effective. She can reorganize. She can change her methodology. She's open to new ideas, right? She can change her methodology. And she can be patient and persistent. And she's intellectually brave, and she has integrity in spades, if you will. Yeah, she has integrity in spades. So that's the kind of people we are, right? That's the kind of people we want to be. We want to inhabit our Queen of Spades, who is also able to reorganize, change our methodology if it is called for, be patient, and inhabit our integrity. Yes? And so we're looking at this time of nourishment. And this is a card of Mountain over Thunder. So to properly nurture and feed ourselves and others, caring for ourselves and others is important now. We want to be mindful of what we nurture. You know, that old saying, which wolf are you going to feed? Are you going to feed the kind, loving, nurturing wolf, or are you going to feed the angry, defensive, attacking wolf? Right? Which wolf are you going to feed? The wolf of light or the wolf of dark? And I don't mean color, but the wolf of darkness or the wolf of the bright sunlight. We want to be mindful of what aspects we're nurturing. Wise people nurture talented people for the greater good. So we also want to nurture other people, as well as our ideas. Mind, body, and spirit should receive the right attention. We want to balance all aspects of self, right? And we want to aim for a harmonious and balanced interaction with other people. And that is what's describing the Two of Swords, right? Our clarity, our research, our gathering information and developing our insights and imagination, right? Our using our imagination and daydreaming. We want to do that. We want to nurture that. We want to nurture our positive daydreams, not our negative daydreams. Not our creating horror stories for ourselves in our imagination. We want to nurture the solutions. We want to nurture the progressive ideas, the progressive and developing imagination, our daydreams of growth and our daydreams of insights and our daydreams of discovery. Of wonderful things, of awesome things, of amazing things. And we have that as our potential. And that really does, I think, emphasize and magnify the future three cards from the Lenormand Spread, which were the development of something new. And that leading to a commitment and our agreement and long-term devotion to whatever it is that is going to grow. Does that make sense? Can you see how these cards really do, in a different direction, restate and emphasize important aspects of the Lenormand Spread that we read earlier this week? If you do, let me know in the comments below. If you don't, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I can help us work that through again. I think this is an important spread for us. I hope you think so too. And in just a second, Speaking of spreads, if you want to get a private reading from me, my QR code and my online shop's web address will pop up before your very eyes. So take a look at those. And, friends, now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.